This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All right, there he is. How you feeling, my man? You feeling good?
I'm doing very well. How about yourself? Sound very, very loud and busy over there.
Let me put this here because I'll be able to hear you a lot better. All right, there we go. All right. You are rocked. There we go. No glasses and everything. Okay. All right. You're really letting it loose right now.
Just wait till I let all my hair down.
I don't think there was any doubt in Tua playing. Dude, did you see that picture on the quarterback sneak?
The one where the Buffalo guy is kind of like
bending his ass back.
Yeah,
that one.
Yeah. There were a lot of dirty plays both sides in that game. It was.
I'm gonna go more on the Buffalo side than Miami side.
No, shocker.
I mean, the Tua hit was dirty. The hit on the Milano hit. He had passed the ball already.
A late shove. It was a
late shove. There was no reason to shove him.
No, correct. But I've seen more egregious stuff. It was okay. The play that you just illustrated is a lot dirtier than what Milano did.
And the chase hit.
The chase
on the 2-yard line, and then he punched it in after that.
Oh yeah. Oh, and they got flagged for him.
Right, I'm saying the bastards were dirty.
But again, it works both ways. Hey, tell me, Big O, if we're going to be honest, and this is where I go journalist and not fan. If we're going to be honest, those deserve to be flagged. Christian Wilkins had a borderline high hit from the side on Dawson Knox on one play. And somebody sent a video one time of Melvin Ingram pass rushing, and he's tangled with the offensive lineman, and right after Allen threw the ball, he kicked him with his left leg.
Okay, that's dirty.
Yeah, no, correct.
And Allen ripping off the helmet too of Wilkins.
Correct. For which he'll get fined, and Wilkins will get fined if the NFL finds video of Allen's allegation that Wilkins was messing with his junk.
Oh, they never do that. They never bust anybody with that stuff.
Because they can never find the video. I looked at that replay like 8 times and I couldn't see it, but Allen said it, and it's like, and there was, if you remember the shot of Wilkins from college, somebody like resurfaced yesterday, where it was flagrant out in the open after the play, and he's literally reaching out and grabbing that from behind, and was like, "What are you doing?" So anyway, yes, there was a lot of cheap plays, but doesn't matter. Dolphins won.
I'm with you. That's the beauty of it. Now, what do you say about the defense? Because while a lot of people are talking about the points and the yards they've given up, but they find a way to clamp down at the end. And we were talking about this 2 days ago on the show. And the stats are amazing. The first half, they've allowed 59 points. The second half, the Dolphins have allowed 18 points in the 3 games. And in the first quarter, in the 3 games, they've allowed 17 points. Their bugaboo is the second quarter, 42. And then in the third quarter, they've only allowed 13 points. And in the fourth quarter, they've only allowed 5 points. It's amazing how, while they've given up all those yards, they find a way in the fourth quarter, 0, 3, and 2. That's what they've allowed in those 3 fourth quarters so far this year. So, and this kind of been their MO, that they find a way that they bend, but they really don't end up breaking. How impressive is that? Because we keep saying it's a gamble, but they keep doing it year in and year out.
Well, I have 2 thoughts here. One good and one not so necessarily positive. I'll start with the bad one, so I can finish on a high note. Is that with this Buffalo game, to me, I want to give Dolphins credit for coming up with the big plays when they had to. Mm-hmm. I'm also looking at Buffalo leaving points on the field that had nothing to do with what the Dolphin defense did. For example, Josh Allen flubbing the snap at the end of the first half to prevent him from being able to spike to set up the field goal. That's 3 points right there. The 4th down pass, which I think both you and I can agree was just horrible technique by Josh Allen, more so than anything the Dolphins defense did. That's 7 points right there. And then the field goal that was missed in the
Yeah, but I don't that if game that's what the Dolphins.
But the problem is those if issues are not always going to work on the Dolphins' favor. That's the point. If we want to throw roses and just play the results from that game, that's great. We're talking big picture here. Is it not what we're doing? Because yes, everything worked out great Sunday, so there's no point in discussing it. The defense was awesome. They did nothing wrong. It was beautiful.
Don't get so flustered and start destroying your whole room there. Relax there. Take it easy. Jesus Christ.
I'm not flustered, but it's like if we can't have this conversation of like this is not always going to pan out like this. So the point I'm making is the Buffalo left points on the table, and then the field goal that was missed early in the fourth quarter. Turns out Agba got a piece of it. The NFL has changed the ruling, the stat ruling to a block for Agba. By the way, funny note, which actually Thomas Moore said might not find funny, is they changed the ruling of a block punt on the butt punt to a 0-yard punt because it hit his own player. And I don't know the structure of Thomas Morstead's contract, but if he's got incentives for, I don't know, leading the league or reaching a certain average. I mean, his average on Sunday, this is how great he was. His average, even with the butt punt with 0 yards, was still 43 yards. Without it was like 54.
Right.
So if I'm Thomas Morstead and I have an incentive in my contract about leading the NFL in punting and I wind up missing by 3 yards because of the butt punt, I would be very pissed. Going back to the defense, and now the thing that where they deserve a lot of credit for, and this is sustainable as opposed to offensive failures, is the fact that they adjusted some of the things they did. For example, on that goal line stand, unlike the first quarter when they threw a blitz at Josh Allen and it left guys wide open, if you notice, especially on the third down pass, Josh Allen had all day to throw. He just couldn't find anybody open.
Right.
Because they dropped back. So props to Josh Boyer for making that adjustment. So, yeah, there's something to be said for what the Dolphins have done in adjusting defensively. They're still giving up too many yards for my taste, but, yes, they have done a good job situationally.
By the way, the chat board wants to remind you, only the Bills left points on the field. Didn't X leave a pick six?
It's a pick. It wasn't we're going to go there. Yes, no, the Dolphins left 85 points on the field. I think let's make everybody happy.
I mean, listen, it's about execution in the end, and the Dolphins executed better than the Bills. And by the way, I got to tell you, Alan, your argument carries very little weight because apparently Josh Allen and the Bills suck at tight games. So apparently this is the norm for them. The norm is not that things will happen and that Josh Allen will make the right play. The norm is he'll short one. He'll miss a guy. Why? Because he's terrible in games inside 6 points. What are they? 1-7, 0-7? What was that record that came out after that?
It's 1-7, and the norm is, if we want to play the norm game, the norm is you get outgained by 285 yards, you lose. That's the norm.
They got outgained the week before by Baltimore.
By 285 yards.
No, I get that. I get that, but that's because you put together 2 drives of, what was it, 20 plays and 17 plays or something like that.
Still did that. I mean.
Yeah, but you still have to finish those drives, and they didn't finish. You know what this sounds like to me? You're reversing what I did to the fans and to my man Mike McCoy 2 weeks ago. They're well, no, but the Canes moved the ball on Texas A&M, and I'm like, yeah, did they score? I don't care if you move the ball. I don't care if you put up a whole bunch of yards.
300 yards.
Did you execute? Did you finish drives with touchdowns? Oh, no, you settle for field goals? Well, that's great. That's what happens with Sperano. Way to go. That doesn't help you out. And so I'm slamming the Bills for the same thing I slammed the Canes for. Your stats don't mean shit to me if you can't put the points on the board. Just like Lamar Jackson. You had a great, 2.5 quarters or something because you only scored 7 points in the third quarter, and it was that one run. But when they needed you the most, and that offense, you failed. You got all your points in front running in the first half. Show me what you do when it counts. Execute when it counts.
Right.
And And that's my only point out of all of this. Okay, I'm going to pick on the Canes for not executing and missing and screwing up, and I'm going to give the Dolphins a ton of love for executing, even if they bent backwards and they gave up a bunch of yards and points. When push came to shove, they did the shoving, and that's what I like.
They won the game. Okay, let me ask you this. Did the Dolphins win the game more, or did the Bills lose the game?
No, the Dolphins won the game.
Okay.
Dolphins won the game. That's the way you have to look at it that way. You can't say it.
If you're a Dolphin fan, absolutely. If you're being objective,
you've been covering a team for the last 25 years. How many games have the Dolphins given away? By this definition, how many games have they given away?
A lot.
Tons.
Correct.
Because you're not good enough. It's not that you're giving it away. It's just you're not good enough that day to execute and get it done. And in that game, when everything had to be done and you had to make plays, Tua and company made plays, and the defense made plays. Just like in the Baltimore game, the defense stepped up and kept stopping the Ravens and handing the ball off to the offense, and the offense kept scoring. I mean, I got to give teams credit when they perform in the clutch, Alan. Don't you?
Of course. Of course. I'm not debating that. I am debating that, to me, that game was more lost by Buffalo than it was won by the Dolphins. But the bottom line, I have no idea why it's so important to you that all the credit goes to the Dolphins. They won the game. That's the bottom line.
You want to know why?
Because I'm thinking big picture. In a game like this, the same scenario, it's not going to work out as well for the Dolphins as it did on Sunday more often than not, and that's not sustainable. And if we want to see the Dolphins succeed as much as they potentially can with what they have as a very, very good team, I think they're going to have to be better than they were Sunday, even though they won the game.
Dude, why is that
difficult to understand?
Dude, they played the best team in the NFL practically. I mean, they did a great job overall. See, the reason why you and I are differing on this is because I've watched the Dolphin team for years.
And I haven't?
Well, wait a minute. Let me finish.
Go ahead.
Bad coaching, terrible decisions, lack of preparation. The talent is mediocre, constantly carried by one side of the ball, the defense, because really for 25 years, it's mostly the defense that has to bail you out every time. So now all of a sudden, you got a coach that's got balls, that can out coach other people, can scheme. You've got a defense that can bail you out, and you've got an offense that can bail you out. And in these 3 weeks, I've watched them shut down the Patriots. They weren't even a threat in that game at any point. Then go down big time to the Baltimore Ravens on the road to come back, and then play the best team in the NFL in a knockdown, drag-out, physical war, and they outlast them and find plays to win. I'm watching a completely different team than what we have watched for 25 years. And so that's why I think that right now, and I know it's only 3 games, so I'm getting ahead of myself, yada, 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 I get that. But I have to give praise when I see so many characteristics I never saw from the Dolphins in the last 25 years. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay.
That's it.
And I tend to be more. I tend to be more grounded. That's all.
Okay. All right. Well, you know me. I'm not grounded whatsoever.
No.
I live in the clouds. That's just me. I live in the clouds. All right. Prediction today. What do you got? I took it yesterday +4. As it went back down to 3.5. Apparently, Vegas got surprised that Tua was playing today.
Bro, I know you were saying that, but the truth is, we don't know. We're not behind the scenes. I mean, he could have been, by all indications were that he was going to be okay, but the bottom line is we don't know. Guy
played with fractured ribs and a fractured finger in his throwing hand.
He could wake up, and look how he was after he got hit. You don't know. He could have woken up this morning and been like not be able to get out of bed.
Thanks to Barstool, we know he's just fine.
There you go. No, it trended fine all along. That I agree with you, but I don't know that it was a slam dunk.
Right.
like you're making it sound.
By the way, can I ask this?
Go ahead.
Because none of the legitimate outlets like you and Harold and all, none of you covered the Barstool story. Are you doing that out of professionalism and respect to the Dolphins? Is that what it is? Because none of you, I don't think I saw it on any of the legitimate outlets.
Because I have, there are two reasons for me. Is number one, I'm literally going to have about 8 stories on the site before the game even kicks off tonight, and there's so many things I can write, and there's so much time I have. That's number one. Number two, it sounds like a lot bigger deal than I think it actually is. Are we really thinking for a millisecond that Mike McDaniel was like running the first 15 plays? He's got scripted for the game during that.
No. I don't think it's going to create any kind of advantage. But I wanted to ask you because I found it very interesting that the legitimate outlets did not carry it at all. Did not even put it out there, because it is a little bit of a story, because they did reach out to Barstool and say, "Hey, can you take it down?" And Barstool basically stuck their middle finger out, which is, what did you expect from them, dude? They don't care. Although I will say this. Somebody brought up in one of those threads something very interesting. Portnoy just started a gambling app. So if your company is running a gambling app, what are you doing putting out material of another team that could be used as some kind of, you don't know, maybe an advantage? I don't know. You know what I mean? So that I thought that was a very interesting point that somebody brought up. But I just found it intriguing that none of you, ESPN, Herald, Sentinel, nobody gave that story 3 seconds of airtime.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak for the other outlets. For me, it was, like I said, I basically haven't stopped the past 2 days.
Okay.
At some point, it's like, and I don't, if the Dolphins win or lose tonight, it's not going to be because of what happened. I'm told also that stadium basically is
Nippert.
The students are walking through there like all the time, so anybody could have seen it. The Dolphins chose to practice there. I'm sure they had other options. I don't know. Now I saw a report where the NFL might be looking into it. If something comes of it, obviously I'll jump on the story. As it stands right now, I don't know.
Right.
I was more concerned about revisiting the 2021 draft and the Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle dynamic, which to me was a lot more interesting.
Oh, you remember the idiots last year? Oh, they got the wrong guy. Look at him. He's getting all the big yardage. Jalen Waddle's a possession player. Like, yeah, no, don't take into account that they can't block for the kid. There's no time for a play to develop downfield. Forget about that. That's the reason why Waddle is Waddle. And now look at him now. The narratives that develop are just absolutely baffling, bro.
No, but it's one of those cases like it worked out fabulously for both sides, because I mean,
of course,
Jamar Chase is a hell of a player.
Oh yeah,
and Waddle's a complete baller too. So
yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Great. So anyway, going back to your original question, look, there's some mojo about this team.
Are you cooking white rice or brown rice? What was that bell for?
That was a message, actually.
Okay, all right. No, I thought that was the rice cooker that is ready or something. Ding.
Not breaking news. What was I going to say? No, that there's a mojo with this team that if they wind up winning tonight, despite circumstances not being in their favor, it wouldn't shock me. I mean, the polar opposite of the circumstances were in their favor against Buffalo. They're completely against their favor for this particular game, and it's just a tough ask to come back on the road after a very physically demanding game against Buffalo, which was a big game for them. I think they're going to keep it close. I think they're going to be big plays on offense on both sides. I see a high-scoring game. I think Bengals win. But like I said, it wouldn't surprise me in the least if the Dolphins pulled it out.
All right, there you go. So you wouldn't be surprised, or are they pulling it out?
No, I picked the Bengals.
Okay. All right. There you go. All right. Dolphins are going to win this, by the way.
All right, there you go.
They're going to win this, just so you know. Will Eli Apple get burned by Tyreek Hill today?
Not sure he's ever going to be one-on-one against him, though. That's the thing.
Okay.
No, and here's the other thing too is like I know I saw like a whole lot being made of Tua saying if he's their matchup one-on-one, I'm gonna throw it to him. I'm thinking if anybody matches up Tyreek one-on-one, Tua's going to him. I mean, seriously,
Right.
It's
right.
not just it's Eli Apple.
Right. I'm with you there. Yeah. You throw him one-on-one with anybody in the damn league. I'm with you there. All right. Follow him on Twitter at Poupart NFL. Catch his exceptional work there at Sports Illustrated, even if he just doesn't give the Dolphins enough credit for monster win after monster win to open up the season. But follow him there. And remember, you are not an official Dolphins fan if you don't bookmark alldolphins.com there and straighten out Alain in the process. Alain, enjoy the game. We will see you on Monday, my friend. Thank you.
Sounds good. Have a good weekend.
You got it. Yes. We will have a great weekend. No Dolphins on Sunday. No Canes on Saturday. I get to relax on the weekend, dude. It is so good. That is Alain Poupart.